afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Friday edition of Talking Sports. Of course, sorry we're getting late this afternoon. We got to blame everything on Jason over there.
Yep.
Jason in them shorts. We got to blame it on Jason. All right, here's what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. Let's see. The Heat look to put the Pacers out of their misery tonight as the Spurs, they took care of OKC last night, move a game closer to the finals. Also, the Clippers were sold for $2 billion. That's right.
With a B.
That's right, $2 billion. They were only worth $575 million. We'll tell you who had enough money to pull that one off. Also, painkiller suit. It exposes some NFL stuff that's been going on for a long time. We're going to tell you about that. NCAA double antitrust lawsuit is set for go to trial. That's June 9th. Also, Dr. Boyce Watson, he's been on our show a couple of times. He gives 4 reasons why your son shouldn't play football. Also, Donald Sterling, check this out, is the most hated man in America. This is according to a poll. And of course, we here in America, we are taught to be forgiving and all that. Forgive and move on. But America has a very long memory. We'll tell you who else is on that list. And we got all that and more coming up on this edition of Talking Sports. You be sure and stay tuned.
Welcome back, Duck. Talking Sports, WBCP 1580. Last week, you ever done something at the time you were doing it, you didn't know how embarrassing it was?
You meant well.
Right. Well, first of all, I want to turn this thing around, get him some airtime. Got a lot of airtime last week, didn't
he?
Yeah. Unintentionally. This duck is probably going to be the start of the end of my career on BCP and UPTV Channel 6. And then the duck has the nerve to leave a note. And it says, "Is Joe coming this afternoon?" I might, but the duck ain't.
Hey. Don't get it started.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
UPTV Channel 6, U versus 99. YouTube, you need to go, if you have not seen the replays on Saturday morning from 7 to 9 on UPTV, go to YouTube and check it out. I know we think it's funny.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It wasn't funny last week. Let's just put it.
Yeah, it was.
It was very funny last week.
It's incredibly funny.
Just as funny this week. If
Yeah.
you hadn't seen it, go to YouTube or go to uptv.com and hit the, YouTube shows and pull up Talking Sports from last Friday.
May 23rd.
And it will actually make your month.
Yes.
You get ready to go into a new month. It will make your month, if not your day, if not your year.
Also, what it goes to show is that shows you how many. I probably embarrassed myself a million times in my life. There's just one more card.
Just one more.
But that was a good one. That's the top of the list, I believe.
Yeah, it's the top 3.
Okay.
That's top 3.
All right. I'd like to see the other 2.
Well,
or hear about them at least.
Well, number two or number 1. Remember, now I don't know. Remember back in the day, the track shorts that we used to wear, and back when shorts were shorts, and for track they used to have almost like an inner lining, or it was just one piece. You wore nothing up under.
Sort of like swimming shorts.
Shorts, right? But because back then the less you wore, etc. And I was in the gym, and a friend of mine.
Do we want to hear the rest of this?
I'm thinking we don't. But.
Well, let's just put it this way. Back in the day, the funny thing to do to somebody is come up behind them and grab by the shorts, and pull them down. Got mine pulled down, but I had on the track shorts, so I was.
You was cool.
Full frontal.
Oh. Were you embarrassed by that?
I hadn't got out of the pool, so it wasn't shrinkage going on.
Oh, okay. I just thought you might.
But that was left to the eye of the interpreter.
And here we go again.
Boom.
Where is it,
We're
Joe?
gonna be here all night. I had my magnifying glass, and I still couldn't find it.
Well, hold it down. No,
Okay.
don't hold it down. Just be quiet.
Either way,
Oh, I know.
right?
Either way. Mm-mm.
But let's get back into
only
sports.
on this show, man.
Right.
I love me some talking sports.
Man, 10 years.
10 years. Matter of fact,
Next month, right?
Yep, next month. And just want to remind you, we're putting together a little thing for our anniversary that's going to take place at the American Legion Post 559, located somewhere.
Hickory.
Somewhere on, is it Hickory or Walnut?
Hickory.
Hickory Street.
How are you I take my salute back from you.
I'm a member. I just know how to get there. You know what?
You're like a stray dog. Feed you once.
Never.
Yeah. We're going to put together a little something. We're going American Legion Post 559. That's June 20th. Didn't we agree on June 20th? That's a Friday from 6 to 8 o'clock p.m. We're going to I can't say film it live. We're going to tape it. We're going to do our show this afternoon from 2 to 4, that afternoon from 2 to 4, and then from 2 to 6 at the American Legion Post 559.
Let's rewind your tape again. You're going to do the show from 2 to 4.
Right.
And then you're going to go to Legion from 6 to 8.
Right.
You just said 2 to 6.
Oh, man. All right.
You know he ain't never done that much work in his life.
Well, that's true.
From 4 to 8. No.
6.
From 6 to 8, we're going to tape the program to be aired that following morning on UPTV, Channel 6, 99 U-verse, for that Saturday morning. We want everybody to come out to the Legion. We're going to have some giveaways. We hope to have some vittles. And we're going to have the listening audience, or the audience that is there to participate in the program. We're going to be asking some questions, or you can come up and also join in the program. So we're going to do that. Come up, get on the mic, get on the camera, and tell us what you think about the subject that we're going to be talking about, et cetera, et cetera. So that's June 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at American Legion Post 559. So come on out and join us. It's going to be a good time.
Are we taking the duck?
No, we're leaving the duck here, man.
Okay.
That goes back up top.
Top story in sports today. The Sterlings have sold, or tentatively sold, the Clippers to, what's his name, Steve Ballmer, who is former executive of Microsoft, for $2 million.
Billion.
$2 billion, I'm sorry. $2 billion.
I was like, man, if he got it for $2 million, what a steal.
You got a deal.
He already got a deal. The team was only worth $575 million.
Right. And he's paying
Two-
4 times the value.
Of the team.
So who got the deal?
The Sterlings got the deal.
Yes, they did.
What's her name? Shelley Sterling. Now, we always talk about, well, we don't always talk about, but we know how help me out here, 'cause I ain't going to be able to get it out.
Manipulative.
Yeah, women can be.
Speak
Because, of
for
course,
yourself.
V did her thing in order to get what she got from Donald Sterling. Now, Shelley, she's not stupid. She's going to go put this girl to court, get her stuff back. Dude, already banned from the NFL, from the NBA. And the commission wanted this team, they didn't want to have to go before the board of governors to sell this team. They gave them an opportunity to sell it before it got to that. Shelley, being a wise old girl that she was, says, okay. Had him, what's the word?
He had a psych evaluation.
Yeah, had him get a psych evaluation where he was mentally incompetent. So she took over the Willings and Dillons, got with Ballmer, and said, hey, I'm going to sell you this team for $2 million. You can have it. It's yours. That's what he bid it, because he just straight out bid it. I think the next closest bid was like $1.2 billion, something like that. It's yours, but I still want to have a little something in the team. Maybe like a suite for home games. So dude said it was cool. Got the team sold before it got to the meeting with the NBA Tuesday. Was that smooth or was that smooth?
Yes. I guess the way I would categorize it is Donald Sterling, dumb as a fox. Sterling family, played everybody. I mean, you think about the whole scenario and, I love this team and I don't want to go and I'm sorry and I'm going to fight. And, they basically got 4 times the value. This is the highest purchase price of an NBA team.
Any team.
In NBA history.
Any
team, right, but in terms of just the NBA right now, the Milwaukee Bucks had just sold for $550 million. And you turn around and sell this team who has little to no debt because he didn't spend any money on the team. He spent $12 million to get the team back in, what was that, 81?
Mm-hmm.
Now here it is, 33 years later. $2 billion will go into the Sterling Family Trust is how it's set up. So it's not like Shelley just gets the money or Donald gets the money. It goes into the family trust. So can you say cha-ching?
cha-ching.
My only question, I guess, would be, does Ballmer have to be approved for ownership?
I think being a former CEO of Microsoft, having assets of $20 billion himself, I think he would have to be approved. The league would have to,
Yeah.
Board of Governors would have to vote on that, but I think it'll be unanimous in terms of that. So I don't think this will be swift. I think by the time, by the end of June, when the draft is over with,
Right.
this will all be consummated.
Well, you know, they basically, the NBA basically wanted them to sell the team before they had the meeting, which is supposed to take place, Tuesday? They wanted them to do it then. That way the NBA wouldn't be forced to take over the team and then try to have it sell it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Silver did accomplish that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, things continue to roll in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, it is a win-win for everybody, though. You think about the team, the anxiety that Doc Rivers and the players were under in terms of, you know, would they have to be dealing with anybody from the Sterling family again? That's done. From the league standpoint, you wouldn't have this protracted battle through the summer in terms of legal battles and, you know, a lot of he said, she said within the media. That's done. Adam Silver just been commissioner for less than 200 days. He doesn't have to deal with anything else. And the Sterling family, they read off in the sunset with $2 billion for a basketball team. And like you said earlier, you think about like net worth. You know, you hear numbers like 1.2 billion for the Cowboys, you know, the Yankees, franchises that have that are storied franchises. The Clippers have never mentioned the Clippers in the same phrase as storied franchise. And here it is, they've sold for $2 billion.
Yep, they come the most valuable NBA franchise at $2 billion, excuse me, followed by the Knicks at $1.4 billion, the Lakers at $1.4 billion, then the Bulls at $1 billion, and then there's a significant drop to the Celtics at number 5 at $875 million.
I think with that now, and going back to Mike's question about Ballmer being approved, now that you get the credibility, you remove a man like Donald Sterling and get the credibility of a man like Steve Ballmer to come in. I think, what does that do? It enhances the credibility of the league itself because of the fact that now you're bringing in a guy that's respected throughout the business community worldwide. And for him to pony up and make a $2 billion bid tells you a couple things. That means he's ready to spend some money, not only on buying a franchise, but you'll probably see some situations change in terms of stadium. You'll probably see situations change in terms of players.
You think the Clippers get their own spot in L.A.?
I think that's going to be the next move, because now, to be viable, instead of sharing the Staples Center with the Lakers, if you now are the most valued franchise in the NBA,
Get your own house.
there you go. Don't be playing over here in our gym. And I think that legacy. I think what he will do is do that, because that'll wipe away the lasting
The stain.
stain. There you go. That's that old Ajax on that blueberry stain. That was the Sterlings. That'll take care of itself, because now, like you said, the Lakers will be playing in the Staples Center, and the Clippers will be playing in whatever new arena they are at.
Now, part of the deal was that he not take the Clippers out of L.A. because he at one point he tried to buy the Seattle. No, what was that team that was in Seattle? Hold on.
Supersonics.
Yeah.
That are now in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, he tried to purchase them, but that fell through. So he finally got his basketball.
Well, I'm just wondering how much of a Microsoft rivalry there remains, because Paul Allen owns Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is Microsoft taking over the NBA?
I don't know if you could say Microsoft is
Well, former execs
former execs, but
of Microsoft.
so. But if you look at just the people who have the ability, the
There's not many.
earning potential,
Thank you. Not me.
the folks who have the earning potential to buy these teams, like you said, they're not many. And for one man, because usually now it's kind of a conglomerate.
Yeah, you get partners.
Guys will come in with different groups and
Minority
owners, right? I'll get like 1/10% of the team.
like Jay-Z did.
Yeah,
Well, like Magic's done too.
right.
With the
But it gives them name recognition
Right.
with the group. But for one guy to just say,
Yeah, he owns the team 100%.
I guess I got $2 billion laying around here somewhere,
they check the couch.
right?
Oh, you got that much? Why not?
And listen to this stat. Me and my son looked this up this morning. Guess how much $2 billion weighs if it was in stacks of $100 bills?
I try like heck to get
3
it back in my
tons.
truck.
44,000 pounds. And a ton is what? 2,000 pounds? So
Oh,
that's
oh,
22 tons.
22 tons.
22 tons of money.
I can haul half of it with my truck.
I'll get a third, and then
Yeah, you get something back. in
right.
your
I
truck.
get something back, and then he can.
I just loaded my pockets and I'm straight. I'm not greedy at all.
But the reason why we were talking about that this morning, this shows you how weird the Stovalls are when it comes to having trivial conversation.
Yeah, y'all just got a lot of time on your hands.
That too,
Well, then Joe must try to avoid the obvious discussion.
right? Ducks, unlimited. You know how in the movies you always see, all right, if you want to see Mike again, I want $10 million in cash in a briefcase. Meet me at the dock midnight.
It's been fun, guys.
Right. And then they bring the briefcase and lay it down. And
Yeah,
it's all here.
it's all there.
It's all just. Let's see his face, Mike. Are you all right over there?
Yeah, but y'all overpaid.
He said, "Bye. How much?"
Couple million.
No way in the world that they can actually bring you your money in a briefcase. So that's the reason why we were having a conversation.
Well, they do have $1,000 bills, don't they? They still make $1,000 bills.
Yeah, but usually they don't do. They
You can't go to the bank and just let me get
you get a couple thousand.
Let me get a couple $1,000.
How would you like that? A couple thousand. Yes. What denomination? A couple thousand. I'm gonna go talk to my manager.
Yeah, they gotta do that first.
Cause then where you gonna go with the couple $1,000?
Next thing you know, the law riding up.
Secret Service.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
blacked out Chevy Suburbans are following you home.
Sir, would you like to step out of your vehicle? It's nice and easy.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that conversation just to throw some more trivia into this. That's how much that money would weigh.
Well, the Sterlings got rid of the team. Like I said, I thought about how I said, when I heard that Shelley was doing the business, I got to think, now that's one old sly woman right there. She might have had this planned all along. She might have been the one that leaked the tape.
Now that's one sly old man.
Huh?
If you know me, I'm all about conspiracy.
I know it.
He parlayed allegedly some private conversation. You talk about Shelley letting. I wouldn't be surprised if Donald didn't let the thing out. He just took a $12 million investment. He's 80 some odd years old. He doesn't want to deal. I mean, let's look at it from just a business sense.
Why would you want to do all that money? Hold on, first of all, when they go to take you to your grave, there's not going to be a Brinks truck following your hearse.
Yes, but if you talk about legacy and family, like I said, this money is going to the family.
Your
trust.
legacy is that you're a raving lunatic. That's your legacy.
Nah,
Crazy like a fox.
That's right. I'm a raving lunatic for you poor 99%ers, which is all of us. For the 1%, they're out there toasting champagne going, he did it again. That damn Sterling. Son of a man.
Well, I might agree with that, but when you watch him with Anderson Cooper, like Sarge said, he was crap nuts. And either he needs a few Academy Awards or Shelley's.
I'm gonna say,
what do they say? Behind every
crazy man is
there's a
crazy ass woman. But I'll put it this way: if I can have 12 million turn into 2 billion
in what 10, 15 years,
I'll take
that. I'll take it.
I'll be as crazy. You can call me blank crazy all you want. While I'm sitting up there with the Brinks trucks taking 44,000 pounds of money to the bank.
You realize you started off really well last week with that bat crazy stuff.
Right. There you go. That's the reason why.
I don't know. I think there was a lot of underhanded stuff. Like I said, I want to be with you on this one, Joe. There's some conspiracy going on, right?
Well, what about if Silver says, "Oh, you think you're going to play me? We're not going to approve him."
That ain't gonna happen.
Well, I don't think it will, but
because then if he doesn't approve it, then the ball's in his court to do. I know what you're saying.
The board of governors, if they go, no,
but the board of governors, they got to approve it because.
Well, and Silver wants it over with as quick as possible.
Exactly. So, yeah, but I tell you what. What is this? May 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go one full month. June 30th. When I think everything has gone through, there'll be a TMZ. There'll be another video come out. Sterling coming out of another steakhouse with his wife. They high-fiving.
Cohiba.
Right. He's like, yeah.
V pulling up in the Bentley to pick him up.
Right. V will be coming out of the steakhouse with him. Carrying Shelly's purse. Right. Talking about, oh, that was the best.
All the way to the bank.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know. Now, if we pull this off, if you and I and Mike tried to pull that off, we'd probably be riding up around, sitting up somewhere, Madoff somewhere.
Y'all would.
Now, first of all, let's just make sure we get this clear. You're getting shot.
Why do I gotta get shot?
One of us has to get shot, and it ain't gonna be the white guy. I'm in between.
Joe's got a great shirt on.
Right. I've got the Ocean's 11 shirt.
He's already ready to buy that item off the person. So.
Oh, man.
There you go. Hey, look. I've already weighed out how much the money weighs.
I got my truck.
There you go. So we know how it goes. You, on the other hand,
have nothing coming.
You'll be the rebel, and we got to sacrifice you because in every movie
the brother the first to go.
There you go. But you'll go out in a blaze of glory, though.
I hope so.
And we'll have a nice service for you.
We will.
But first,
full honors.
First, let me take that slow motion walk in front of the explosion.
Okay.
I always wanted to do that.
All right.
You'll do the slow motion walk in front of the explosion. Then you'll have 250 cows. You'll be letting them go as you're taking rounds, but you'll still be, and we'll be going, Sarge, no!
We'll be over there lighting the explosion with $100 bills.
See?
Hey, we're just telling it like it is, man. That's all.
See, people? See how they treat the brother?
Yeah, but your fans still yell at you from across the parking lot.
Oh,
there you go.
They still do.
Sergeant Rod.
Thank y'all.
It's great to be a celebrity.
Speaking of being recognized, Donald Sterling, this is according to results from the poll by ePoll Market Research that was released Thursday, is considered America's most hated man in America by 92%.
Who's the 8% that like him?
I don't know.
You're my man, Donald.
Mitt Romney.
But hold on. I'm going to give you the top 10 on this list. Because, we're coming up as kids. I mentioned this at the beginning, the top of the show. When we're coming up as kids, Mom always taught you to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive and forget. Let that go.
Bygones be bygones.
Get rid of that burden, because you won't be able to go on
That's right.
with your life until you didn't let that go.
Right.
Remember that, people. Let it go. Be willing to forgive.
With that being said,
It doesn't make you a lesser person. It doesn't make you a weak person. But just be able to forgive.
thank you,
But
Rev.
somehow, America can't forgive.
Certain things.
Because number 2, Bernie Madoff. They still don't like him.
Right.
After what he did, 4 or 5 years ago?
Oh, it's been longer than that.
Right.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Tied for 3rd, O.J. Simpson.
Yes.
Let's see.
The juice is on the loose.
Yeah. If it don't fit you, must he quit. That was what, 20 years, 30 years ago?
20 years ago.
20 years ago, and they still dislike him. Also tied for 3rd, Conrad Murray. Of course, Michael Jackson's doctor.
Hey, it goes to show you, whether you Conrad Murray or O.J. Simpson, you cannot kill a white woman in America and get away with it.
That's right. Ooh-wee. At number 5.
Oh, that was Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
I'm
Michael
sorry.
Jackson.
I thought that was another white woman.
Okay, you Michael Jackson fan, there are a million of
That
them.
was Joe Stovall.
Yep. Coming in at number 5. I don't know if you want to consider him a man, but Justin Bieber.
He should be much higher.
Wait a minute.
Canada doesn't even want him back.
Well, all right. But Bieber,
The Bieb. They don't like him, Joe.
but you're going to put Bieb up there with O.J. and
Yeah.
Conrad.
Conrad Murray.
Only thing Justin Bieber's killed is his career.
He came in in number 5. In
Hey.
the top 5. At number 6, Phil Spector. Now, a lot of who? Now, Phil,
Tell us,
he was
music man.
once a famed writer of music. I mean, he wrote music.
Producer?
For all that. So some of the top acts back in the day. Supposedly killed his wife. One of them, anyway. He had a crazy hair. I guess he got away with it, something like that.
But then he claimed of suicide.
Yeah, but everybody.
Al Pacino, did you see the movie?
No,
Pacino played Spectre.
no, I didn't.
It's on HBO. It was one of those HBO movies. Did a good job.
I don't get HBO, so
I forgot. Bobby the Cable Man ain't been over.
not yet. At number 7, Aaron Hernandez, who as earlier as Tuesday pleaded innocent to the killing of 2 guys in Connecticut, Boston. A few
How's
years ago.
Hernandez below Bieber?
Ah, psh.
Well, I mean, all he did was shoot 2 people
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
over a spilled drink.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's how they.
You're right. Yeah.
That's how they knew it.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. At number 8, Michael Lohan.
Lindsay's daddy.
Yep. Yeah. Now I don't know what this dude actually done.
Speaking of bat crazy,
Now, is Lindsay's mother on there too?
No, just,
well,
she
see,
should be.
just
Right.
Michael.
It should be a co-MVP for that family.
Okay,
for
number
OJ.
9, Elliot Spitzer. Now who is this dude?
The former
Attorney General.
General of New York
Right.
that was all, we're going to arrest prostitutes and da-da-da-da.
Why, he was-
Oh, crap.
Just
I got
not
caught with
mine.
one.
We'll arrest all the prostitutes except for mine.
Just not mine.
You know.
Did he get caught with one?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
That's why he's no longer Attorney General of New York.
Because he was going to be running for mayor.
okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right, in New York City.
Right.
And at number 10, John Gosling. That's. Could you believe John? Now he the one that walked away from the lady that had the 8 babies. No.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's
something
it.
like that. Yeah, it was a reality show, dude.
John and Kate make 8.
Yeah, there
Oh,
we
okay.
go. How do you know that?
I told
I'm
you.
just getting ready to say how you know
Because we have such trivial conversations in our house at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Apparently.
that. Oh, well,
Trust me, if our family got called on to like Family Jeopardy, we do pretty good. Now, if it had like real subjects, nah.
Okay, this poll was of 1,100 people between the ages of 13 and 19 whose demographics were representative of the U.S. population. Just had
not
to throw
even
that in
close.
there.
Right.
Just had to throw that in there. But you notice there are no women on this list?
Yeah, well,
Well, didn't it say the most hated men in America? or just hated people, period? Make it up, Sarge.
Right.
Make it up.
They just say man. I'm sorry.
All right.
We need to see the list of the 100 most hated women in there. I wonder who would be on that list.
Who would be
Man,
on?
there's a lot of choices.
Right. I won't answer any of them because that's too easy.
We need. Matter of fact, we getting ready to go to break here. Matter of fact, before we go to break, when you come back after break, I got to set this up. You know, last week we talked about Mark Cuban. You know, the statement he made about the hood and the bald-headed white guy with the tattoos, this, that, and the other. And you know, we basically agreed with Mark Cuban. You know, there's nothing wrong with what he said, this, that, and the other. But there were a lot of people who took exception to what Stephen A. Smith said when he agreed, just like us. He felt that Stephen A. Smith felt that Mark Cuban did not say anything wrong, and he pretty much agreed with what he said. Well, a lot of people out there took exception to what Stephen A. Smith said. You know, we haven't gotten any feedback. At least I haven't.
I got hit in the head with an egg, but it was a guy who's a duck hunter, and he really didn't like the way I treated him.
Quack, quack.
But that's a different story.
Well, in this case, we're not tainting a jury pool either.
Right. Okay. Anyway,
OJ.
when we come back from break, we have a rebuttal with that Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if you've heard it, Joe. Oh, you heard it?
Yeah.
Mike heard it here. Anyway, we're going to let you, the listening audience, hear what Stephen A. Smith had to say. And we would like to know if you agree with what he has to say, or do you disagree with what he said. We're going to play that after we come back from these commercial breaks.
Welcome back. Talking Sports, WBCP 1580, UPTV, Channel
6.
U versus
99.
Really appreciate
You know
everybody.
anybody that has U-verse?
I don't even know what U-verse is.
My mom does.
Does she?
Yeah.
Does she watch you on Saturday morning?
Do you know anybody who got U-verse besides your mom?
No.
No. I'm just wondering because, you asked me like,
Well, I just, you get around more than I do.
hey,
I
watch how you talk in front of the duck.
I'm sorry.
I don't get around that much.
You're going to the Center of Disease and Control when you leave here.
You're going to be like that TV.
Quack every
patient.
test. Quack. Anyway, before we went to break, we was talking about, we talked about last Friday about Mark Cuban, the statement he made in reference to,
Prejudice.
the Donald Sterling thing, and how he would cross the street. He was being approached by a brother with a hoodie on, and if there was a white guy all tatted up and bald-headed, he'd cross back across the street. He caught a lot of heat from that. We talked about it last week where we agreed with Mark Cuban. We'd probably do the same thing. Joe went into extensive explanation of why, including picking up the duck. But Stephen A. Smith, the ESPN analysis, or whatever you want to call the job he got, he gave his take on what Mark Cuban said, and a lot of people in the industry and a lot of people out in America start calling him an Uncle Tom and sell out, yeah, and all that. But we're gonna let Stephen A. Smith give his explanation of why he said what he said, and then after we listen to this tape, we're going to elaborate on what he said and hope that you will give us a call here at 359-9227 and let us know your take on it. So, Mike, press play.
If you have a problem with the black hoodie reference, why don't you have a problem with the white bald-headed tattoo reference? We have to be fair. You can't preach and try to provoke equality when you're not willing to provide it yourself. You can't sit there and constantly wear the shroud of victimization, but then act as if it's impossible to be applicable to somebody else just because they're not black. You can't do that. And that's the whole point. Now, granted, we have to be primarily concerned with ourselves as a community, and I do get that. The Jewish community teaches us that better than anybody. They concern themselves with their issues, and if you mess with them, they're going to collectively stand up and handle their business. And I understand that. And we need to do the same as well. But the fact that we repeatedly, on countless occasions, fail to do so, we also contribute to our own victimization. But that's not a subject that we ever talk about. When I bring up the pants or I bring up the tattoos or whatever, it's not that I have a problem with somebody with tattoos. It's that I have a problem with the fact that you know there are others who are employers who will have a problem with it, and then you say you don't care, but you still got your hand out for their money. Now, if you own your own business, if you are Jay-Z or P. Diddy or LeBron or somebody else, you get to do that because you are controlling your own stuff. But when you have your hand out and you're asking somebody else to give you an assist, to give you a helping hand, you have to capitulate to some degree. Conformity cannot be taboo because nobody gets to get away with that in this world. If you want something from somebody else, you have to capitulate to some degree to some of their wishes. I come to work every day. There are times when I am not at work. I got on a sweatsuit, y'all. I got on some Timberland boots or some Nike sneakers or whatever the case may be. I cannot roll up at ESPN that way. They don't have that. You come to work, you have to be professional, you got to be ready to roll. The show starts at 10 o'clock. It don't start at 10:02. It don't start at 10:05. By the way, you got a radio show. You got to do that too. We need you on the road to do sports, and you got to do that too. These are the responsibilities. And oh, by the way, there is this four-letter brand called ESPN. You don't just represent Stephen A. Smith. You don't just represent the Smith family. You don't just represent the black community. You represent us. And the reason why we matter is because you wouldn't matter to them if you didn't have the platform that you have, Stephen A. I understand that. And I walk to work every day knowing that I have that responsibility on my shoulders. Why can't the rest of us? See, all of these guys that are preaching about being a maverick, being independent, being on your own, doing your own thing, being real, they ain't the ones paying your bills. And if they're not paying your bills, they damn sure ain't gonna pay it if you lose your job. You gotta exercise common sense. And you gotta start thinking about what works instead of what you want. Because we all want stuff. But we don't get to have everything that we want. And the people that are in privileged positions, and I won't say any names, but they know who they are, because a couple of them emailed me last night. You're in your privileged positions. It is earned. You did what you did. More props to you. You're elite. Nothing but love for you. But everybody ain't you. And I'm going to close it by saying this. I said this to a professional athlete who will remain nameless just a few years, several years ago. I said this. He always walked in, dressed the way he wanted to dress, looking the way he wanted to look, talking about being real. And I said, excuse me, when you got drafted, what were you wearing? You had on a suit, had a clean cut fade, you didn't have all of this other stuff, you didn't have tattoos everywhere or anything like that. Why didn't you? You know why? Because you were trying to get paid. It was when you got paid that you talked about being real. But when you were trying to get paid, you were willing to conform. So why then, when you get paid, would you turn around and go tell a nation of kids who haven't gotten there yet, do what you want to do, be real, be what you want to be, ignore status quo? Is that going to help them?
And there you have it. Joseph, your thoughts?
I think what Stephen A. Smith said, obviously with his platform that he has on ESPN, was necessary in terms of going back to what we did last week in terms of the dialogue on race. First of all, the description of the individual he gave at the end, that's Allen Iverson. That's Allen Iverson.
Well, that's because I read the comments.
Oh,
And the reason why, if you think back, when Allen Iverson was at Georgetown under John Thompson, Allen Iverson had no tats. He had the fade haircut, like he said. Once Allen got into the NBA, you saw the metamorphosis, the transformation
Practice.
from, you know, like Mike just said, practice. We talking about practice, you know, and we obviously know where Allen Iverson is today. But with that being said, going back to the real crux of the matter, what he was talking about is that exactly what we talked about last week. People are too selective in their outrage. They're too, and it's on all sides.
mm-hmm.
People have to remember that, you know, like the folks say, keep it real. Well, when you got a few $1 million, pretty easy to keep it real. You know, as he said, you weren't keeping it real.
Keeping it real, what real seems to be to you at that particular
Right,
time.
and that crap about keeping it real is contrived. That's more of an image, a media image of keeping it real, which really to me is about marketing and making money.
Exactly.
That's what really keeping, when people talk about, oh man, he keeping it 100. That dude keeps it 100. He keeps it real. No, he doesn't. He does that to portray an image that sells a product, whether that product be a movie, whether that product be a CD, whether that product be clothes, whether that product be shoes. And somebody, just like what we joked about last week about the 12-year slave, there's somebody sitting in a room that creates imagery. And they say, let's run with it. So that's the other thing, you know, when people get into that. But I would just, to surmise it all in a quick blurb and just say, what he said is outstanding. Somebody needs to stand up, because the dialogue can't be one-sided. And what I mean by one-sided, not meaning just one side saying something, but it turns into Caucasians, or the majority, are saying one thing, African Americans are saying another thing, Hispanics are saying, no, the conversation has to be a two-way with everybody. It can't be, I'm going to point finger, point finger, point finger. Now, I go back to the final thing I'll say, we've talked about before, bigotry, prejudice, and racism. 3 different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where, and I'm glad he was pointing out a lot of the prejudice, bigotry, and these ill-contrived notions of, like we just talked about, what is keeping it real. And if, as an African American, if you don't talk and act some particular way, then you're selling out.
Right.
You know, when last time I checked, you know, the old saying, when in Rome, you do what the Romans do.
Well, you know, when you listen to what he says about conforming, you know, yeah, you have to on a daily basis, for the most part, because, you know, like you said, when you go get a job, you can't go into that job all tatted up and, you know, this, that, and the other, and expect to get that job. That's the reason why a lot of people will explain to the younger generation, that's the reason why you don't get tattoos above your neck, or all on your face.
Or a sleeve if you're wearing short sleeve shirts all the time.
Because if you need a job and you go in to apply for that job, you go into the interview and they see all that on you, that's going to look negative to that employer.
Yeah.
You know?
I've
Like, you know, he made the reference, you know, well, everybody already knows Allen Iverson. When he was going to get that job with the 76ers, he wasn't all, like Joe said, he wasn't all tatted up. He had the suit on, probably talking all proper and everything, too. So, you know, and he was basically pointing out, you have to be able to go to the white man, who is basically in control of, we already know, in control of a lot of stuff in these United States. And you have to be able to get along in order to get what you want.
I was just going to say, I've had this very same conversation about tattoos with my daughter. And I said, whether you like it or not, and yes, it's starting to change, but I'm not going to say it. Companies nowadays are still ran by a bunch of people that look like me, and if you're going to get one, you get one. You do whatever you want to do, but make sure you can cover it up, because people still, the first thing they think of when they see it is, okay, here we go. Nope, I'll pass. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
And to get in to both those areas, first of all, talking about conformity. When I mentor and we talk to kids, whether it be elementary, middle school, high school, the thing that needs to be understood is that the group never conforms to the individual in no circumstances.
Right.
The individual always has to conform to the group. Why? Because you want to belong. And I'll give you a classic example about belonging. You just talked about tattoos. A lot of people think that's individuality. No, it's not, because everybody's getting tattoos. You're not being an individual. What you're doing is you're conforming to a group.
But it's my body. It's
Right, it's your body, but how
it's how I'm expressing myself.
just like millions of other people. So you're not doing any type of self-expression that is no different than what other people are doing.
Because your tat looks different than theirs.
In your mind, you think,
I know a really great quote, and I apologize because I don't remember who said it, but talking about that and what Joe just said was, the quote was something along the lines of, whenever I see somebody who's all tatted up and all pierced up and, all this other stuff, the more ordinary that they are.
Right.
There's nothing that distinguishes them from anybody else.
Right.
And I'll find it if y'all want to know.
But like for
Thanks for
example,
sharing.
We've talked about issues of young African American males with the issue of pants sagging, and all of them are sagging. So you're conforming. You're conforming to that group. My statement is be an individual. Pull your pants up. Put a belt on. Be different.
Well, and there's that really great video that Central and Centennial's kids made that I've seen that addresses that exact point.
Exactly.
So, kudos to all them young men.
And so that's where, people talk about, I'm not going to do what, the white man, the white man ain't going to tell me how to act, and he ain't going to tell me how to. It's not about a white man telling you how to act or et cetera. It's about social norms. You're not going to go over to grandmother's house with your pants down below your drawers. That has nothing to do with race. It has to do with respect. You're not going to go into somebody talking about, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying, first of all. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with communication skills. You have to be able, if you want to deliver your message to the masses, you have to be able to communicate in a thoughtful and respectful manner. It has no difference who you are. We talked earlier about that list.
Mm-hmm.
Most hated men, and Justin Bieber is on that list. What was Justin Bieber before he became hated?
Cute and adorable.
There you go. Why is Justin Bieber hated now?
Older and stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And he's white.
Well, he's Canadian.
It's 3/4.
Well, no, yeah, and your point is, and if you look at pictures of him before, and even for that matter, Miley Cyrus, you can see the progression of with Justin with the Biebs or whatever the heck he's called. He's got all these tattoos now. He's got the haircut, and he's dropping his drawers down around his knees, and so yeah, you're right.
And so let's go back to Mike's point he made last week about sometimes it's just stupid people. It appears, and we see this more and more in this country, as people get money, their intelligence level goes down. It's like a Euler's reciprocity is what it was called.
A what?
Whoa.
When I was in chemistry, it was called Euler's reciprocity. And they talked about enthalpy and entropy in an inverse proportion. And I think that's what we're seeing. The more somebody gets, the less they have. Meaning, the more superficial value we see these people get, the less common sense they have. and they display it in such a ridiculous fashion.
Outlandish way.
Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber, for the lack of better, these were Mouseketeers. And you know from when Mickey Mouse Club first came out with Annette Funicello to today, how beloved those kids are.
And were loved.
Right, and still are.
Well, and at least from the female's perspective of the Mouseketeers, they've all gone through that stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christina Aguilera did it. What's her name? Britney Spears did it.
Right.
So.
And I know some people will say, well, you know, they at that time they were kids, so people were directing them, but this is who they really are. So what you're telling me is that Disney did such a great job keeping stupid, ignorant people in a confined box for that long, and then when they got out of that box, they just took off.
Yeah, well, you know, they had to go to that growing up process.
Yeah, and now if you're growing up, everybody makes mistakes growing up. You're quote unquote, as you said, finding yourself, who
Right.
you are. No problem with that. But you know, when you see certain things, that's not who that individual really is. It's somebody else, like Justin Bieber. It is though somebody is pushing him in such a negative direction.
Well, you know, at those ages, you have what they call, I mean, even as you get up, handlers.
Mhm.
You have your publicity people who's saying, you know, you want to keep your name out there. You want to be relevant. You want your names on everybody's lips.
Right.
So you go out here and do this outlandish stuff just so you could be talked about, just so you could be heard.
Right. And then the other thing, going back to conformity, taking it back to the sports arena, what happened when David Stern was commissioner? A lot of guys got into this, you know, like Allen Iverson, and I hate to pick on him, but got into this, I'm going to go to work any way I want. Do rags. I'm going to dress any way I want, etc. And the league said no. You're going to work. You're a professional athlete.
Suit and tie.
Suit and tie. You will dress appropriately for the job you have. Not because, and you know, a lot of people say, well, it was David Stern being racist. No, it was David Stern going back to what we talked about, branding and image.
Dress code.
You go to work at Microsoft, you go to work IBM, you go to work at State Farm, you go for a corporation, there's a certain way you have to dress. Same exact thing. You got multi-millionaires. And you think about the image that the NBA wants to display to the younger fans. Not worried about the old guys sitting in the seats with a beer and a hot dog.
But also the players that are going to be coming into the NBA.
And that's the point. Those young fans who, man, that's what I want to aspire to. Well, this is what we do. This is how we do it. And if you want to do it another way, go start your own league, do your own thing. And I think that's where a lot of people miss this issue, is that, you know, when somebody says to you, this is our code. Oh, well, I can't. That's not my code. Not a problem.
Well, if you want a job, here it is.
Right. If you want to work here, but it's not a problem if you don't want to be here. If you want to go somewhere else, as I said earlier, start your own company. You see it now with a lot of these tech companies where you see
Right.
these young multimillionaires, guys ain't even in their 30s yet. They create their own companies. They make, and so what do? You can come to work, got on Converse and, you know,
Well, but
cargo shorts and stuff like that.
But even they have a dress code.
Mm-hmm. Right, but you can't coming into their corporation and do your own thing. They may do their thing, and you have to conform to it.
Exactly.
So I think the final analysis is that conformity is in everything we do. In everything we do. You have conformity in households. That set the standard. Your parents set the standard in terms of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in the household. Society sets a standard. Corporations that we just talked about set standards. All groups set standards. If you don't want to be a part of the group, that's not a problem. Now, when it comes to racism and prejudice and things of that nature, we do understand how certain groups, and that goes back to what I talked about last week, the institutions, use the conformity to keep people out.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're actually doing things intentionally, not to conform, wake up.
And there you have it. If you have something that you would like to contribute to the conversation, feel free to give us a call, 359-9227. Get your 2 cents in. Surely somebody out there listening has something to say, but they saying, oh, no, we just let them ramble on. They're cool with it. Let's jump on to the NBA.
I'm going to let him start because last week I started talking about Crow.
Move the duck.
And next thing you know, I'm a YouTube sensation.
The Heat are a game away from the NBA Finals. Spurs are a game away from the NBA Finals. Let's start with the Spurs and OKC last night. Once again, Spurs took it to Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook last night. Once again, playing great fundamental basketball and just dismantled OKC last night.
Spurs in 7. I said it a couple of weeks ago.
What I'm amazed about is the disparity in scores based on where they play.
Every game's been a blowout.
Right. You play in OKC, Spurs are going to get run out. You play in San Antonio, OKC's getting run out. I mean, I did not know home court advantage meant that much in terms of disparity in scoring, but it just looks like each team is totally different when they're not at home. Just not.
It's like, I don't know why we're out here.
Right, let's get this over with.
Yeah. I mean, the first half, pretty decent ball game. But come to third quarter, team starts coming unraveled. Fourth quarter blowout.
Yeah, I mean, last night at one point it was 101-76, early fourth quarter, and when San Antonio plays the way they played last night in the previous 2 games in San Antonio, as I said before, Miami's got to play a perfect. If they want to three-peat, they got to play 4 perfect games.
Okay, and with that being said, now OKC has a home court advantage.
Nope.
I thought
they go back for one more game at OKC, and then 7, if necessary,
Is in San
will be in
Antonio.
San Antonio.
my bad. So if scoring continues the way it has been the previous 4 games or 5 games, this is San Antonio's
Yeah,
title.
Game 7 will be in San Antonio. So
Yeah. I mean, you flip over to Miami and Indiana. Now, Indiana wins game 5 in Indiana. A lot of silly stuff was going on in that game. Lance Stevenson blowing in LeBron's ear. A lot of flopping. And I think what was missed on that game is how well Paul George played.
Mm-hmm.
he did play very well.
37 points, 21 in the fourth quarter. But I think I would still be super concerned if I'm Indiana in the fact that he played that well. LeBron only scored, 7 points? And you still almost lost that game.
Yeah, they won by 2,
Right.
2 or 3, whatever it was.
Right. He ended up winning like 93-90. That's where I'd be concerned if I'm Frank Vogel and the rest of that band of characters over there is that, you got Lance Stevenson doing stuff that, you may be seeing a freshman basketball game.
Well, they always said he's been a little
Off.
Yeah, exactly. He do immature stuff like that.
But you know what's crazy about that? It's not, I don't know if I call it immature because he's basically doing whatever it takes to get LeBron off his square. The thing I was looking at, if you go back in the day, as we would like to say, if Lance Stevenson did that back when men were men,
Chuck would have knocked him out.
bingo, he would have caught an elbow or a forearm to the throat. But 2 things have happened because of the change in the way guys respond to stuff like that and the way the league doles out punishment. LeBron James knows. Back in the day, you'd slug a guy that might throw you out the game, but that's it. You come back the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Not nowadays.
He's thrown out, okay, how long will Lance Stevenson be out? Oh, he broke his nose, he's out 3 games, so LeBron will be suspended for 3 games. He'll be fined $500,000. He will also have to do 25 hours of community service and blah, blah, blah. It's got to a point where, the old way of retaliation was either you do it yourself or the coach called the timeout and looks down the bench and says, 12th man,
Come here.
come here.
Use up your 6 fouls.
Got you, coach.
Make sure they're hard.
And Stevenson is getting pummeled by the 12th man. But because of the way money and the rules, can't do it anymore.
Well,
Y'all know the dude blowing in LeBron's ear, LeBron's sitting there like,
and then end up with only 7 points.
Yeah.
Come on, LeBron.
so he did get in his head, more or less.
Yeah, and that's what, like I said, but think about it. You can't retaliate. You can't do anything because of the way the league is structured with the rules.
Well, you go out and bust 30 on him.
He will. He'll probably score
Tonight, tomorrow, whatever
Right.
it is.
He'll
They play
score.
tonight, I think.
Well, if they play tonight, he'll score 60 tonight. He will. And all the fouls that were called on LeBron Wednesday night, Stevenson will get those tonight. Because that's the other thing when we talk about home court advantage. I'm still trying to figure out how does the officiating just become so one-sided based on where you play.
I know last night San Antonio didn't get a free throw until
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. That's like holding in football.
Right. Right.
Every trip down the court, there's a foul.
Right. But all of a sudden, I'm not going to blow the whistle here. But when I go to a different arena, that same play is a foul. So that's why, I think.
Let's be fair now. You got different refereeing teams doing these different games, so you don't have the same team doing the game.
No, it's not the same crews, but it goes to what I've talked about many times before about the human emotion and the fact that officials are human. I'll give you a classic example. What was it, 90-91, Pacers were up 1. Shane Battier and Paul George are going for the ball on inbounds, and the ball gets hit out of bounds. And the question is, was it out on Battier or on Paul George? Now, the original call, the official, was Indiana's ball. Now, if they were in Miami, that call gets reversed as Miami's ball. They got a shot to win the game.
Yep.
No way was an official going to turn that thing around and think he was getting out of that place alive. If he said, we're reversing it, it's Miami's ball in Indianapolis, Indiana. No way. I don't care what the replay showed. It was not going to happen. And sure enough, they came back, well, it was inconclusive and no.
Oh, come on, you know.
Right.
Well, they see the same thing everybody else sees.
Right.
And
But how, if we can sit here in our easy chair with our Budweiser and Jose sitting over there staring at you in the face, and you can make the call, and the referee in the arena cannot, he said the same thing I'm saying, he cannot make the correct call.
you're making his conspiracy theory point.
What?
Thank you. It's because of 19,000 folks sitting there.
That's not the point. Fair is fair, Joseph.
Sam, the only thing that fairs are for is for pigs. You take your pig there to be judged.
Come on now. I watched
and take your ducks there.
I watch instant replays of that on baseball games. Here, they always overturn if it's a bad call.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where they playing.
And why is that? Because the instant replay in baseball is done through a central location in New York City, and all the guys do that are at the field, they just put the headset on.
And
well, maybe all instant replays should be done that way.
well, you may be right, but in baseball, it's not really important until it gets to be October.
Right. Right. See, in the NBA and the NFL, guess who's making the call? The guys who are making the calls. So you think about in the NFL, referee throws a challenge flag, and now I got to go get under that hood, and there's 75,000 people screaming, and I'm like, okay.
And it's 2 degrees outside
Right.
in Green Bay.
And I'm trying to figure out, okay, all right, Green Bay's a home team.
You're not thinking that. You're
Yeah,
thinking
you
on
are. Oh, yeah, you are.
No, you're not.
You don't think that?
No, you're not.
Let me ask you this.
You're thinking about making the right
When the
call.
Music City Miracle happened, when Tennessee beat Buffalo on the throwback, on the lateral,
The illegal forward pass.
if they were in Buffalo, would that touchdown have scored?
Nope.
Case closed.
Because it was clearly forward.
But he defied the laws of physics. He made the ball somehow miraculously.
Whoever made that call should have been fired.
It was commanding curve was throwing it.
He should have been fired.
Should have been fired.
Well, Bum Phillips, the coach, actually Wade Phillips, the coach of Buffalo, he eventually got fired. So people do get fired over these calls. It's just not the people
He
you're
should have
talking
been fired.
No.
So, what is it? Game 6 tonight? Eating Pacers,
I think they're close.
and it's in where? In
Miami.
It's in Miami. So this is it for the Pacers.
Yeah. Go fishing.
Go fishing. And tomorrow.
Or talk to some of your teammates' wives. One of the two.
Or take one of your teammates' wives fishing.
Well, yeah, that too. Oh wait, we're not in Minnesota.
Oh.
Why you get on our squad like that?
Hey.
We have party boats. That's what we have.
There we go. We know how to
No
do it.
fishing
We don't go
involved.
fishing. We don't go
It was a
fishing.
little fishing, but
All right, we got to take our last break. When we come back, there's a lawsuit going on in the NFL about how players, the teams, put them on painkillers, let them play. Matter of fact, a couple of players, one of them, Keith Van Horn, said they didn't tell him he had a broken leg.
Yeah.
Vince, was not Vince McMahon, but
Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon said he played with a broken neck. All they did was peeled him up. Now they were addicted, couldn't get off it, had to go to rehab. Hey, my name is Jim McMahon,
Hi, Jim.
and I'm addicted to painkillers.
So are we.
Here's my story. We were playing.
Go Jim.
Thank you. Anyway, we get into that when we get back. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Last quarter, last half, last inning. What else would you say? Down the stretch they come.
Yeah.
Last summer.
Almost time to go home.
I will be having the duck.
Little orange sauce.
All Talking Sports WBCP 1580. WBCP1580.com for you folks out there on the World Wide Web. UVersus and UPTV Channel 6.
And 99.
Folks, check us out on in TV land.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's tomorrow morning at what time?
7.
7 and 9.
I usually get up about 10:30.
It's the weekend.
That's every day of the week, isn't it?
It's
Hey,
You can't
hey,
ever find you at your office.
hey! That's because I'm out in the community
7 o'clock.
Oh, is that what it is?
trolling.
7 o'clock. I'm turning over for about the third time. I still got 2 left. So
Oh, you got 2 more
I
turnovers
got
to
2
do?
more turnovers left. So I'm thinking about noonish.
Being a military, old military guy, do you sleep, straight and proper, or you old sloppy guy, one leg out the bed, you face down in the pillow, arm hanging out?
No. Yeah, I gotta sleep on my right side for some reason. Any other way is uncomfortable.
There's only he said any other way.
Yeah.
Like, I
can't
gotta sit my right side or my other right
And
side.
I can't sit on my left side, uncomfortable.
We got old injury on the left side.
On my back, uncomfortable. On my stomach, uncomfortable.
With a fat guy, really uncomfortable.
Never happened.
Well, see, maybe.
You don't know.
Hey, what the duck?
I don't know. Now spooning's real comfortable.
Spooning with a fat guy?
No, man. Now you know they talk about how spooning leads to other things.
What might that be, Manti?
Forks and knives.
Spatulas.
Wooden spoons. Plating.
Okay, with that being said.
Back to the world of sports.
Yeah,
man.
we might as well get to that. Lawsuit filed by 8 former players in district court in San Francisco this week against the NFL alleged that their former teams allegedly administered painkillers and engaged in other questionable practices in this hunting, really what it is. They talking about the lawsuit. Like the concussion lawsuit against the NFL that precedes it, this lawsuit portrays the NFL as far more deceitful and intensely unhealthy culture than any of us knew. And what they're saying, J.D. Hill, a wide receiver for Buffalo in Detroit in the 70s, One of those plaintiffs in the lawsuit sums up the alleged backstage reality as nearly good as anybody. I was provided uppers, downers, painkillers, you name it, while in the NFL. Hill claims in his statement, I became addicted and turned to the streets after my career and was homeless. Never took a drug in my life. I became a junkie in the NFL.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. ESPN Outside the Lines, working in conjunction with the National Institute of Drug Abuse, commissioned this groundbreaking study of 644 players in 2011 that provided bracing data of the sort of lifestyle that NFL players that Hill described. 88% rated their health as excellent when they entered the league. Only 13% said the same after they quit. 71% said they misused painkillers during their career. What this lawsuit is stating is that while these players were in the NFL, they would get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches, doctors will give them painkillers without prescription.
Mm-hmm.
Give them those painkillers. Get on back in there. At one point, where'd my notes go? At one point, Keith Van Horn said in a statement about knurling for 5 years that he had played a whole season on a broken leg. Jim McMahon, who was part of this concussion suit as well, alleged that the Bears staff did not tell him that he had a broken neck and other injuries.
Go ahead.
Responsibility. Off the air, me and Mike talked about this. This is going to be a tough one. Because, we were joking around when we were going to break about, I said, Mike, you can't go anymore. It's your knee. And Mike says, Doc, give me a shot. The machismo.
The what?
The macho attitude that was prevalent back in the day during, in the NFL, the tough guy image. No guy wanted to lose their job because of being hurt. Because we all know how cutthroat the league is. So you're hurt. I say, Mike, get in there. You're running back. As soon as Mike gets in there, he tears off one for about 16, 17 yards.
No, you can't stand that.
And you sitting there going, oh, Lord.
Yeah.
And I'm standing over going,
You looking at the coach,
give it to Mike again.
hopping on your one leg.
Right.
Let me get back in there.
Oh, hold on, Sarge. And Mike is just out there tearing it up, and you like, psh, man, this is contract year. I got to make some money. You go over, Doc shoots you up. Doc kind of play on it. Yeah. Even though on the inside he's like, no. So in that arena, there is culpability that goes around on all sides. I know that, like they're saying Jim McMahon played with a broken neck. Well, the time he got bounced on top of his head, I don't think you have to be a neurosurgeon to know that's not good for your neck. Get bounced on top of your head by 275, 300-pound lineman. So,
And my thing is, why didn't he just pay out of his pocket to go see his own doctor?
see, and there's where
The responsibility and all that comes in.
there you go. Because think about this: if you worked in a old asbestos factory or a steel mill, something like that, and they had a company doctor, would the company doctor diagnose you with something and say it was related to your job?
Of course not.
No.
Well, less than ethical ones would not.
Right. And who do they normally hire?
Less than that.
Ethical.
Your medical degrees from what country?
So what are
What's the
you?
matter, you?
So what are you saying here, that the players are gonna have a hard time winning this suit because of the NFL lawyers are gonna say, well, hell, you knew your neck was broke,
Right. Or
but you decided to go out there and play anyway.
and
So how can you put this blame on us?
And I think that'll be excellent point there. And I think the other thing will be the records. What medical records will the players have access to show that I knew you had a broken leg, but I allowed you to go on the field.
And more than that, how can you prove they gave you these pain pills?
Right.
Well, you have no prescription, but they said that they would be getting them with no prescription.
Yeah.
One guy said he was taking almost 1,000 pills a month.
It was, and I won't deny, it was a very common practice back then. Like, you'd see a guy get shot, or what was remember back in the day?
Cortisone or cortisone.
The freeze, they'd spray. You'd see a guy right on the sideline, lift pants leg up, spray it, numb it out, get back out there. So that's where I think, as I said to Mike, I saw a survey, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but it's been quite a while. And the question that was proposed to several professional athletes was, if you could shave 10 years off your life expectancy, in return you would get, championship and multiple millions of dollars, would you do it? And overwhelming, I told Mike, I think it was like in the 70%, it may have been higher, said they would do it. You ask a 25-year-old, who knows a career span is short to begin with, if I get this shot, you stay out there and maybe get that big contract, would you do it? I guarantee most of them are going to say yes. Now you ask a guy in his 50s who doesn't have that money anymore, and now he's sick as all can be.
Can barely walk.
Right. Do you think it was wise to allow them to do that to you? And they're saying, heck no, it wasn't wise. That's what they're suing. But that's why, like I said, this is going to be a tough one when it comes to the issue of care, custody, control, and responsibility.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why the Robert Smiths of the world are so impressive. And for those of you who don't know, he's a running back at Ohio State, drafted by the Vikings, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Played 3-4 years, maybe
7,
and walked away to go to medical school or whatever it is they did. I know he's on Big Ten Network or ESPN or something nowadays, but to have that self-awareness to do that is amazing in that world. And my other point is, all these guys kept swallowing them pills. None of them said, "Oh no, I don't want to do this." So,
isn't that the reason? Didn't Barry Sanders quit early because?
Yeah, Barry Sanders is another good example.
Yeah.
Played 11 years and left.
Yeah.
I think it goes. Remember earlier we were talking about race and conformity, and I say individuals always conform to the group, and I think that's the other thing that happens is that an individual comes in, and a guy gets hurt, and he's like, and he looks over at that old wily veteran Sarge. Sarge just taping it up, and he's getting back out there. So now it's like, okay, Sarge is really hurt, but he playing. I got a little strain. Should I go out there?
But look at it, he all beat up.
And now you're weighing.
Do I want to look like that when I get that old?
Or do I want the group to ostracize me for not getting out there? And I think going to your point, a Robert Smith, a Barry Sanders, those guys were like, this is my body.
Right.
This is my life. Yeah, I love the team, but I love myself more than the team, which you're supposed to. That's self-preservation is the first rule of life.
Okay. Well, we had Boyce Watkins, Dr. Boyce Watkins on our show a number of times, Joe, on a number of different subjects. And he posted something today. 4 reasons why you parents shouldn't let your sons play organized football, meaning college, professional. He really didn't mention nothing about, little Pop Warner. And here's where his reason. The drugs. A lawsuit has been filed against the NFL by former players who are accusing the league of willfully turning them into a pack of drug addicts. The number of painkillers that they were forced to take in order to get on the field every Sunday was far more than the human body should consume in a lifetime. The great Walter Payton was a legend on the field but died at the age of 45. And he isn't the only NFL player to die of an early age. And he went on to mention, what's his name? Dunson used to play for the Bears.
Oh, Dave Duerson?
Yeah, who committed suicide because he couldn't remember. He was losing his memory and was having headaches and all that. So he took his life.
Junior Seau.
Yeah. And there's a couple other we can mention. Second reason, yes, you can get paralyzed, and the NCAA won't cover your medical expenses. A player for the University of Washington who was paralyzed on the field, he couldn't even think of his name, but this particular player, after his injury, was released from his scholarship, and the university eventually stopped paying his medical expenses. He died 3 years later from a series of infections. Go on. Number 3, brain damage is everywhere. It's not natural to get hit in the head that many times with that much force. And he went on to explain how, you put your apple in a can and you bounce that can around. That's your brain supposedly inside your skull, getting knocked around, getting bruised, this, that, and the other. And number 4, roughly 78% of the NFL players go broke within 5 years after retirement. This occurs due to a combination of factors, starting with financial mismanagement and lack of education. The temptations of sports is often enough to convince a lot of brothers to trade in their educational opportunities for a situation that is probably not going to last very long. Most of them don't know that the NFL careers are typically very short, less than 4 years, and it's difficult to raise enough money in 4 years to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. That's what Boyce Watkins says. Dr. Boyce Watkins says there's a reason why you, as parents, shouldn't let your sons play organized football.
Allow both of mine to play. I never played. I think there are so many positives that come out of football. I understand those negatives, but it goes back, me and Mike, remember we talked last week about choices? When you have the ability to direct yourself in whatever direction you want in life, in terms of freedom, I think that's the ultimate freedom. If you didn't know those risk factors, and then they came out of the blue and somebody said, man, do you know this could happen to you? But when you sit down and you can weigh them, I know that there are more good than bad that can happen when it comes to stuff like this. I think one thing that needs to happen, though, I still believe that there needs to be more education on the financial side in terms of how to handle your money as a professional athlete, because those numbers are just staggering where, like you said, 78% are broke within 5 years after. So
we got a caller. We got to fix it.
We can go to the phone lines at 359-9227, 359-9227. Talking sports.
Hello?
Talk to us, caller.
Oh, yes, I just want to comment on what you guys were just talking about. You know how everybody laughed about how soccer when they tried to make an attempt to come over and take over the U.S. as far as the sport?
Mm-hmm.
Now think about this. The way the NFL is going, it'll be so many lawsuits. In the future, there may not be an NFL in maybe 50, if 25, 50, 75 years from now. And now we'll be looking at soccer as our major sport because the NFL is on its way to possibly being extinct.
You know that you're making an excellent point. The only issue is the popularity of the NFL is at an all-time high. Mm-hmm. There is so much interest being generated in the NFL, and as we've talked about here before, and you saw it the other day with New England, one of the things that the NFL is trying to do is, with these type of lawsuits that you talk about, they're trying to change their image, and one of the areas that they're really focusing on is mothers. Because if mama say you can't play, you can't play. And I agree with you about the fact that soccer, its popularity worldwide is it's the number one sport worldwide. Mm-hmm. But I still don't think soccer is going to catch on here in the United States.
But the point that I'm making is that it's going to be forced to catch on. It's going to be the gateway. NFL is going to have. It's going to lead to the gateway of it becoming that because of after a while, like you said, Mama isn't going to want Jimmy to play football anymore or Tommy because that gateway is going to open up so wide that we're going to be force-fed soccer. It's a possibility that it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you make some excellent points. The only thing we have to do is sit back and watch and see how things transpire over the next decade or so. But yeah, right now the league is at a crossroads with these lawsuits. I think the selling point for the league is going to be selling it to mom, getting mom to say the game is not that dangerous. And I think the final thing I'll say is that football has become America's sport.
It is. It's America's sport.
And I think because of that,
I'm just saying, it's just like the gladiators. They're not fighting lions and tigers and bears in the arenas anymore.
Mm-hmm. You're correct. Well,
all right. You guys have a nice day.
Appreciate you calling. You call us anytime. Talking Sports, WBCP 1580.
You know, with these lawsuits, I think the NFL, you know, their money's long.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to fight these lawsuits as long as it takes. They're going to draw them out for years. And matter of fact, they've been doing this concussion thing for what, about 3-4 years now?
At least.
So, you know, it's going to take some time for them to, before they, quote unquote, settle
I think
lawsuits. But the NFL's not going anywhere for a long time, I do believe.
I think the game as we know it has already gone in the fact that if you go back to the generation that these guys played in, think about back in the day. Receiver comes across, runs a slant pattern across the middle, and everybody's sitting at home like he talked about. We're like the Christians and the Lions.
He can ready to get blasted.
And when the guy got his head tore off, we all jumped off the couch. Beverage went everywhere. Woo! Woo! You don't see those no more. If a guy even gets close to getting hit like that,
That's 15 yards.
that could be not only 50, you could be
50 grand.
50 grand, right? Take money out your pocket. So the way the game, and that's what, remember we talked about the draft, used to be, you said they just changed the rule this year with running backs. If a running back drops the crown of his helmet to make an advancement with the ball, he can get flagged now. So I think the league is doing what they can in terms of the change of the game. You know, you hear guys, the game ain't the same way, guys are soft. Yeah. Pretty soon, NFL will be like arena football. It'll be, 7-on-7, just throw it. Don't touch it.
Male or female version of arena football?
Well, I prefer the female version, but, on Sundays we have to watch the male version.
Yeah.
Dang it.
The NFL as we know it. But I do agree with the caller in the fact that there are going to be some areas where like soccer and other sports will try to, be an interloper and try to come in and get in that area and fill that void. And there'll be people who will sit at home, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to sit on my couch
Me neither.
for an hour and a half and watch 1-0.
Speaking of 1-0, World Cup starts next month.
Yeah, I get ready to say, down in Brazil, right?
Yeah, Rio.
Brazil got the World Cup and the Olympics, don't they?
Got World Cups in 14 and
Nice beaches.
Olympics in 16.
And Carnival every year.
Yeah, a lot of sand. A lot of sand on the beaches.
Man.
All right, come back.
Focus.
Right. Come on, Obi-Wan.
Let's talk about Taylor Townsend.
You talking about a good time.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We got about 15 minutes. We can talk all about that good time.
All right. Kudos and congrats to Taylor Townsend. She's from Inglewood up in Chicago, sister. She went over to the French Open, won Tuesday, was defeated this morning or this afternoon.
Third round.
Yeah, by Carlos Navarro of Spain, 6-2, 6-2. They was giving the girl a lot of heat because she was a big girl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, come on now.
If you go back 2 years
Come
ago,
on now.
Patrick McEnroe, John McEnroe's brother,
Mm-hmm.
he's the president of the
UTSA
Mhm.
or USTA, whatever it is.
Yep. He initially did not invite her to the U.S. Open, and it was because of her body makeup. They thought that she was a little thick, chunky,
Thick chick.
right, peanut butter, and so her mother paid for her
Yeah, pay for
fees and everything, and since then they've reconciled and they've reimbursed the family for that. But what I kind of chuckled about was at the time, who was the number one tennis player and who still is the number 1 pick.
Serena.
Right.
Talk about thick chicks.
There you go.
But no.
She's a younger.
Taylor's not as. No, Taylor.
She's not.
She's not Serena thick.
Right.
But she's only a teenage girl.
Right, 18.
Right. She's 18 now.
Very
right.
athletic.
Right. So she will, over time, through training, nutrition, and all that other stuff,
Grow into her body.
Right. But to deny her and say it was a health issue. Now, if she was out there with an oxygen mask on and wheezing every time she ran on the baseline, that's one thing. So I'm glad that she is now getting more positive exposure.
Right.
And it's going to be less about her body makeup and more about her tennis as she continues to play.
All right, another quick note. Arizona Cardinals inside linebacker Darrell Washington is suspended for the entire 2014 season, again for violating the league's substance abuse policy. Sad. Such a...
Cut him loose.
He was a good linebacker. Mm-hmm. Young. He had his whole season looking ahead of him, but...
He still got the whole season look at from his couch.
Yeah, he can twist up them things all day long now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Of course you don't. NCAA antitrust trial set for June 9th. And of course, they go into court over their images and this, that, and the other. Some of they include some former NBA stars like Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson, amongst others. Mm-hmm. All right, local stuff, Joe?
Locally, first of all, kudos to, I know you gave kudos last week, but today we've got middle school graduation. So kudos to all the 8th graders and 5th graders.
Going to high school and middle school.
There you go. So kudos to all of
those first days in high school, you get around and get your schedule, and you're walking around the school trying to find out where your classes are.
And the senior says, hey, elevator pass for $1.
Mm-hmm.
There's no elevator.
Yeah, you only got, 3 minutes to get to classes, and you got one class on the other side of school. on the other side of school.
And your combination just
downstairs.
Can't get it. And
your locker's
upstairs.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And then 4 years later, you're a senior.
Elevator pass for $1.
There you go. Now you're selling them.
$5.
But back then, we didn't have backpacks and everything. You carried, you go home with a handful of books, all 5 books. And you couldn't go back to your locker, so what do? You carried that book for you in first period, but you got the third period book with you because you ain't gonna have a chance to go back to your locker.
That's it. Yeah, things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed, but like I say,
cool.
Yeah. Pretty soon there won't even be books. Everything will be on pads.
Yeah, laptops
and tablets and
in the cloud.
Right, and everybody will just go in and do all of that. The state track meet, a lot of local stuff going on. State track meet, boys, this weekend down in Charleston. The 1 and 2A went at it yesterday, prelims. 3, 4A.
Next week?
Actually today. Yeah, it all culminates tomorrow. Baseball. Champaign Central and Centennial won their regional game, so they'll play at 2 o'clock tomorrow, Muhammad, for the regional championship for baseball. And then, Central only lost 2 games all year.
All right.
Centennial, I think, has lost 12. They're like 21 and 12. I think Central's like 33 and 2 or 34 and 2. So, crosstown rivals playing again. Here's one thing I wish when something like this happens, have a contingency plan set up and I'll use this example. Central plays Centennial in Muhammad. No. It was the Muhammad Regional. If Muhammad would have won, yeah, of course you're going to have the game there. But they lost. You got 2 teams who are tops in the state, in the same city. Why not play
out there Centennial?
No. University of Illinois Ball Diamond. Imagine the atmosphere that you could generate in town, and imagine the experience for those young men from both schools playing on U of I's field and the accommodations you got with bleachers, etc. I think that to me would we talk about basketball. when Central and Centennial get together and they talk about, well, the high school will sell out and this, well, maybe put it in Huff or something like that. But utilize some of these university facilities for events like this. I would love to be able to go out to the Ball Diamond tomorrow at 2 o'clock and watch Central and Centennial play at the University of Illinois Field.
I can imagine. I had the same experience when I played American Legion ball. We played over in Decatur at their minor league. Remember they had a minor league ballpark? We played over there. We also played at Springfield's minor league ballpark.
Okay.
Played a couple of games. Yeah, that is something special. You know, the ball sounds a lot better coming off the bat when you're playing those kind of ballparks.
Well, the problem would be recruiting.
Yeah, and I understand how the NCAA rules are in terms of holding a quote-unquote sanctioned high school event on a college campus, and like you said, it's about recruiting. But that's where the common sense thing, you know.
But who are you talking about? You're talking about
the NCAA. Exactly. So there's no common sense, you know. But you know, if we could get rid of them and allow that to happen, I think that'd just be fantastic, because I really believe, you know, first of all, it's nothing but 10 miles to Muhammad, but to have all these folks who are here locally, if you want to see this game, have to travel all the way to Muhammad, when you could go over there off of Florida Avenue and see it, I think would be just invaluable for everybody in the community.
Well, and even worst case scenario, as Sarge said, just play it over there in West Champaign.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a pretty decent ball field.
Yeah, but I just think that they need to have contingency plans set up, so when you have regionals set up in a different city and the host team doesn't win, and you've got, you know, let's say Decatur, MacArthur, and Eisenhower.
They do the same thing in basketball, though, don't they?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm saying have a contingency set up in when the two local teams end up playing in something. I just think it makes it, you know, and I know it's about revenue, you know, because, you know, the concessions and all of that stuff goes to the host team, and you can still do it. You can still set it up to where, even though the game's here, they can still get
the
concessions. Exactly.
But that wouldn't be fair.
Yes, it would.
How?
Why wouldn't it?
They're the host of the regional, whether the game is played at their field or another field.
So I want to make money over here, and when I'm done, I'm sending it over there to them.
They'd have been making the money over there anyway. Is the
That's
point?
not the point.
That is the point. That's what we just said.
He's going to go all fair and equal on us.
That's the reason why you're gonna get shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Football.
That's me.
Midwest Elite, two young men that I am super proud of. Stephen Lee, he's a wide receiver at Champaign Centennial High School. Went up to Auburn Hills, Michigan last week. 18-team tournament, 7-on-7 football. He was named to the second team all-tournament as a wide receiver. And Illinois has been looking at Stephen since last year, his junior year at Champaign Centennial. And this is obviously is just more than a feather in his cap. This is others outside of the area recognizing the talent that he has. And I hope this kind of expands out, you know, going into the senior year. As a proud papa, I also get to say congratulations to my own son. He was named second team All Midwest Elite. Same tournament, but on the defensive side of the ball as a defensive back.
You got to say his name.
Jamal Stovall.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks. I almost forgot. I was going to say dummy, you big dummy. Then I forgot I'm not in the house, you know, because, you know, you got your indoor name and your outdoor name. But all kidding aside, Jamal Stovall, my son, was named second team All Midwest Elite. But as Mike knows, knowing these kids all their lives, when you sit back, you watch TV and you hear them talk about kids from all these other places, it's so nice to hear other kids that you know, because you know the work that they put in.
Right.
You know, and not only are they good athletes, once again, they're great students and they're good kids. You know, every now and then you got to kick them. Yeah, you know, give them a big dummy.
Kids will be kids.
That's why they're called kids. You know, but just want to get that mention in that they were named, I think it was either late last night or early this morning, to the All Midwest Elite Tournament second team on the offensive side for Stephen Lee and on the defensive side for Jamal Stovall.
So you can walk out here with your chest sticking out.
My chest sticks out already.
That's your belly.
Yeah, I got Chester disease.
Okay, Mike, anything else you want to add?
No, nothing. Belmont runs next weekend, you said?
Yeah, oh yeah,
So,
that's next week.
There you go.
Not tomorrow, but a week from, correct?
Correct. The 7th? Is it that next
Sounds
Saturday?
right. Sounds about right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay.
Oh, and then first string baseball real quick. Yesterday, a double header.
What?
Dodds against Creative Marble.
2 games?
2 games. They played. It was a makeup game and a regular scheduled game. So they're playing 1 6-inning game. They played 2 4-inning games. Great concept. First game, 4-4 tie. Second game, Creative Marble was down 6-2 going into the top of the 4th. Scored 5.
Yeah.
Went up 7-6.
Walk off?
And then in the bottom of the 4th, Dodds, man on first, 1 out. Screamer over the center fielder's head. Man on first scored. Ball comes thrown in. Errant play. Second baseman got hit in the face with the ball.
Ooh.
And the guy who hit it was able to score. And they won in a walk-off 8-7. I'm happy to report, though, that Donnie Williams, a.k.a. Dude, he was the second baseman, got hit in the face with the ball. He did have a nice little grapefruit on his face, but
Yeah.
please report that he's okay.
Old war wound. He'd be able to go around and brag about
There
that.
you go.
I hope he didn't miss trying to get the catch and miss the ball. That one.
Well, what it was, he was trying to turn with the relay throw
Oh.
to bring it home, and it skipped off his glove and caught him in the face.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Rub some
Okay.
dirt on it.
Yeah, that's a war wound. He consider that one a war wound.
Yeah.
You can brag to the
Yeah,
ladies.
yeah, he can brag to the ladies about that.
So it was an exciting play on both sides, and so I think this is the sad part about baseball. I got to say this last 30 seconds. 2 weeks left before the playoffs.
Wow.
This is what I keep fighting about every year about Little League Baseball.
And school's not even out yet.
Right.
It's not even June. I mean, it will be when,
Right.
when you get there, but
2 weeks and then the playoffs.
You-
July.
Little League,
You want me to walk beside you beating the drum?
it'd be me, you, and Mike, and we'll be the spirit of 76. You know, but I think, we talk about kids and activities and stuff like that. Little League Baseball's got to go till at least July.
End of July.
The end of July.
Right, that's at least July. When we played back in the day, I'll never forget. I played a Little League game on a Monday and was going to school on Tuesday. First day of school.
Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to keep kids
Why do
involved,
you think it has gotten to this point?
I think we've talked about it before. Travel baseball.
Oh, yeah, because they're getting
One.
ready to get started up, right?
Oh, not getting started up. They already have started up.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, overlapping seasons. Because of the advent of year-round basketball and football starting so early. I mean, football starts in July.
Well, the school starts earlier, too.
Well, yeah, if you're on a balanced calendar, you're going to school third week of July. So there's a lot of different factors that go on. But even then, if school starts in July, let's take it, as I just said, to the middle or late July in terms of baseball. But to end it, because there's only 12 teams this year in Champaign-Urbana Little League.
That's sad.
So 12 teams, you figure 3 rounds and you're done.
I remember back in the day, we had 12 teams.
In your league.
Yeah, and there were 2 or 3 leagues in town.
And that,
Oh,
Plus what's over in Urbana.
Urbana, right.
yeah. Yeah, because we played over at Bennett. Was it Crystal Lake Park in the day, back across from the pool?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play at Canada
Yeah.
Park?
That's
I
when we
played
played.
some softball out there.
Yeah.
We played baseball. I mean, Babe Ruth.
At Canada.
At Canada Park.
Mhm. And see, that's the thing. There's not any,
I don't even
That-
think they still use that park.
that intermediate level, that 13 and 14, 15-year-old. Because remember you had junior Babe Ruth and senior Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
You also had Legion Ball.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a lot of different areas that you could continue your baseball career, and they didn't have to just be affiliated with high school baseball.
Yeah, our senior Babe Ruth team and American Legion team, because they all played during the same time period, was the same team as a high school team.
Right.
We just had different coach.
Well, that's
Oh.
just what grinds my gears, and
Man, we was playing 4 to 5 games a week.
We're getting the evil eye.
All right. Oh, dude, and came back in with his pants on. Jason, his plaid shorts.
That means only one thing.
It's time to go.
It's time to go. It's time to start the weekend up.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Talking Sports. We do this each and every Friday from 2 to 4. You tune in next week. We'll lace them up and do it again. Michael?
Thank you, fellas.
Joseph?
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear, beer after beer. If you got the time, if you've got the time. Sam's got the beer.